then we are going to take that concepts that Laura is going to talk about today right now, which is going to be what is a neuron and how do they work. We are going to take it into something which is called neural networks in deep learning. And from there, we are just going to complete a project together, which I teach you some codes. Then you can just diagnose a breast cancer from the CT scans of the women, which we have, I should say, the data set scans at the one of the hospitals, which they have the data sets open to us. Then the Laura's presentation is gonna open a huge door for us. From Laura's presentation, we are just gonna together do something incredible. Then please listen very carefully, and if you have any question, please don't hesitate to ask it from Laura. Okay, I'm just gonna go and share my screen. Then Laura, please, anytime you need to change the screen, change the slide, let me know, okay?
Okay.
Awesome. And please speak a little bit louder because I just want to, because I'm recording your talk, I just want that,
Okay.
yeah, you have a very, I should say, very clear voice on those, I should say, the fun. Okay, do you see the first slide? Everyone sees this slide?
Yes.
Oh
Yes, I
my
can see
God.
it.
Oh my God, that's, I like the first slide. The design of it, Laura, is perfect. The design is perfect. Okay, do you want to start, Laura, please?
Okay. Hello. We will talk about neurons today. Next. There we will have the four parts. What is neurons? Three parts of neurons. Information with neurons and summary. Next. First, what is neuron? Next. Cells within the neural system, called neurons, communicate with each other in unique ways. The neuron is the base working until the brain. A specialized cells decide to transmit information to other neural cells, muscles, or growth cells. Next,
Very good.
let's watch a short video to get some idea about neuron.
Okay, let me, everyone sees the video?
Yes.
Okay.
Minute Neuroscience, where I simplistically explain neuroscience topics in 2 minutes or less. In this installment, I will discuss the neuron. This is a brain. Estimates vary, but right now the best guess seems to be that our brains contain around 85 billion neurons. The neuron is a nerve cell, and it's the primary functional unit of the nervous system. This is a generic image of a neuron. Neurons actually come in all shapes and sizes, but this is the prototypical version of a neuron that you'll often see in a textbook. The structures extending from the left side of the neuron that look a little bit like tree branches are called dendrites. Dendrites are the area where neurons receive most of their information. There are receptors on dendrites that are designed to pick up signals from other neurons that come in the form of chemicals called neurotransmitters. Those signals picked up by dendrites cause electrical changes in a neuron that are interpreted in an area called the soma, or the cell body. The soma contains the nucleus, which contains the DNA, or genetic material of the cell. The soma takes all the information from the dendrites and puts it together in an area called the axon hillock. If the signal coming from the dendrites is strong enough, then a signal is sent to the next part of the neuron, which is called the axon. At this point, the signal is called an action potential. The action potential travels down the axon, which is covered with myelin, an insulatory material that helps to prevent the signal from degrading. The last step for the action potential is the axon terminals, also known as synaptic buttons. When the signal reaches the axon terminals, it can cause the release of neurotransmitter. These purple structures represent the dendrites of another neuron. When a neurotransmitter is released from axon terminals, it interacts with receptors on the dendrites of the next neuron, and then the process repeats with the next neuron. Welcome to
Okay. Next.
Okay.
In the radio, uh, let's, yes, this page. In the radio, talk about the free neural component, Dendrite, Soma, and Axon. Next, the dendrites play the role of the input devices that collect signals from other neurons and transmit them to the soma. This is where it receives the signal. There tend to be, and nothing is always the case in biology. Sometimes different parts of different cells perform other functions, but there tend to be where the neurons receive a signal. Next,
Very good.
soma is the body of the neurons. The soma is the central processing until that before an important layer persists that is if the total input varied at the soma exceeded a certain threshold, then an output signal is generated. Next page.
Oh, next one.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, you mean next this page?
Yes.
Ah,
Axon is a child of the neurons. The output signal is taken over by the output device, the axon, which delivers the signal to other neurons. At the end, it ends at the axon terminal, where it can connect to other dendrites, or maybe to other types of tissue or muscles. If the purpose of these neurons is to tell a muscle to do something, so the end of the axon have the axon terminal. Next,
very good.
how does information travel by a neuron? Did they communicate by conversations or by touch? Next,
Very good.
this node travels along the axon of a neuron, which we will call neural ends, in the form of an electrical impulse. When they reach the neural end of neurons, the electrical impulse causes the release of chemicals, as known as neurotransmitters. The neurotransmitters then bind the two receptors on the surface of neurons B. Next.
That's right. Then you mean the neurotransmitters from the end points of, I should say, the axons, which is called the junctions, they are just going to be transmitted and they are going to get connected to the neuron B then, the next one, huh?
Yes.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Let's watch a video to take a summary. Sir, maybe you should.
Sorry, what?
Can you start to show the video?
Yeah, but you couldn't see that. I just started it. You cannot see the video?
No, I can see it, but it's from the midterm.
Oh, you want it from the beginning, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Is it good?
Yes,
I
thank
don't know why it showed that started from that minute. I didn't do anything. It just started from there. Okay,
Oh, it's
we just
okay.
start from the beginning.
Oh. Ah. 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 Oh. Yeah. Oh.
Next page.
Oh my God, Laura, it was
Uh,
wonderful, I should say. That presentation showed that how all these informations are processed in a very fun way to understand that okay, the thing that you're touching is not is not a cookie, it's a popcorn. Oh my God,
yes,
that was wonderful. Thanks.
thank you. And next page.
Okay, next page.
Yes, that's all. Thank you for your listening.
Oh, Laura, that was brilliant. Thank you very much. To be honest with you, I have never seen a presentation like that that incorporates those kind of fun video to teach me something, and that was great. That's why I tell you always go to something to do in future, which you can use this kind of powers that you have. It was brilliant. Thanks, Laura. Great job. Incredible. How do you
Thank
like
you.
when you were working on the neuroscience? Did you like that concept?
I'm sorry.
Did you like when did you like to do the research on that neuron when you were working on it?
Yes, because it can ask me easily to know how what about the neurons and how they work.
That's right. And sorry, what?
Nothing.
Yeah. And just remember, guys, Sylvia, Anki, Jasper, and Laura, remember that if you Laura liked, I should say, working to see what is a neuron, that field is so vast. It's too big. There is a field which is called computational neuroscience, which it means that you use the math in order to see how the brain works. You find a mathematical model to show that, for example, how a neuron works. Everything comes with structures, rigid structures, which is controlled by the math. And hopefully, if you have some time, we are just going to work also on a project which is called Hodgkin-Huxley model of the brain, which is essentially the mathematics behind what you presented today. And hopefully it should trigger some interest of pursuing the fields in neuroscience and to understand what is a brain, what is a behavior, and what is the diseases associated with the brain. Okay, thanks, Laura. Wonderful presentation. Wonderful. Thank you. And now I'm just gonna share my screen before we finish today with something which I wanted to show you, which I searched for artificial neural networks. And I'm just gonna take you to this part. For example, the thing that you see, it's a kind of, I should say, it's the brain map, which they call that, for example, this is not the out of scope of our course. Do you see everyone this picture?
Yes.
It's essentially a kind of, for example, that's called the brain map. We are not going to work with this stuff. However, we are just going to, for example, look at this picture. This picture is exactly what I should say Laura did. We are going to take that picture as a neuron for the rest of the term. Then we talk about something like this one. We are going to construct a math, which is essentially, it shows a model like that. This is called artificial neural networks. Imagine that, for example, every circle, either it can be red, it can be blue, or it can be green. Every circle represents a neuron that Laura talked about that. Then in the program that we're going to pursue, we are going to see how to connect these neurons, okay, how to connect these neurons and see that how we can just do miraculous thing. We are going to work with this kind of stuff to connect neurons together to find a magical power, which this is called deep learning or artificial neural networks. And at the end of the term that we have together, we are going to use its power, as I said, to detect breast cancer on our computers by using the functions, the advanced functions that we are going to learn. It's going to be a tremendous project that we're going to do this together then. Now, guys, remember, mark that day on your calendar from the presentation that I should say Laura had today, that we're just going to move from there. Laura opened a new gate for us that we are just going to use now. The advanced functions that we're going to learn, mix it with some kind of, I should say, the knowledge in computers to design a neural networks. And at the end of the course, we have an architecture of the networks that it can diagnose the breast cancer. Then Laura, thank you very much to initiate this long journey for us then. Thank you, Laura.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you for your help.
No worries. It was a great help. And I hope that also we all can just start from there, because this field is so vast. Because you can, for example, Laura, we can use the knowledge from the physiology of the brain, which is a neuroscience, merge it with the math, with advanced mathematics, and with the computer science, merge all of these things together and try to understand how the brain works. For example, how the diseases of the brain. For example, have you heard about the schizophrenia? It's a psychiatric disease which is caused by the brain, and still people, they do not know how that disease is caused. Then you can just come here, take the knowledge in the neuroscience with the knowledge of the maths that you have, and use the computers to investigate that, and I'm sure that it's going to be good also for Anki, for Sylvia, and Jasper. And now from tomorrow, we are just going to build on these techniques to move on to just use the math in order to talk about the artificial neural networks. Then thank you, Laura. Thank you, Anki. Thank you, Sylvia, for listening, and also Jasper, if he's still here. And I should say, I'm just going to end the presentation now.